everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I am coming to you on this Wednesday, August the 6th, 2025 with an update video. So this is going to be a regular update video where I show you the stitching I have done since my last regular update video a little over a week ago. Before we get into everything though, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you are checking out my channel for the first time. Thanks all so much for spending part of your day with me. This one I don't expect to be a very long video because I have just a few things that I have worked on in the last week and a half or so. I do have some stash acquisitions and some fun things and some plans to talk to you about, but not a huge list of things since it has only been, like I said, just over a week. Before I get into showing the projects though, with just a couple of administrative things, I want to first say thank you all so much for your comments on my recent videos. I have an update video and then 2 videos dedicated to the Big Brother Stitchy game. So thank you all so much for your comments. I have read all of them. I haven't responded. That is a task for me this afternoon. Honestly, I'll probably respond to the comments before this video is uploaded. So on that subject, if there are any questions that you have, then I will either address them directly in the comments or I will talk about them in my next update video. Speaking of my next update is going to be probably next Thursday. So a week from tomorrow, that would make it the 14th of August. This is kind of dipping into real life stuff a little bit, but my daughter's first day of school for the 2025-2026 school year is next Tuesday, August 12th. So we are in pre-K 4 this year, and her schedule is different this year. I have her in full day 2 days a week. So last year we did half day 3 days a week, and we were going to bump it up to 5 days a week at half days. But we were very behind on the registration side of things. Yep. And so we got her in where we could, and so it was full day 2 days a week. So she's gonna get some practice with going to school full day, and it'll be good. It'll be really good for her. And so it means that my Tuesday, Thursdays, I have a little bit more time to accomplish some things, not only personally but also like around the house. I'm looking forward to it. Trying to figure out what our schedule is going to be and what our life is going to look like once we get started with this. So anyway, so my next update will likely be next Thursday because I have some plans for Tuesday, and I will talk about those in a little bit here. And then as we move into the school year, my plan is to film on Tuesdays and then upload, if not Tuesday, then by Wednesday. So I'm hoping that some sort of a regular schedule is on the horizon. I'm cautiously optimistic. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So that is an administrative thing. On the subject of my channel, something very exciting happened this past weekend. Saturday, August 2nd was my 12-year FlossTube anniversary. I uploaded my first video on August 2nd, 2013, a very long time ago. And so yeah, we have reached 12 years. I do not have anything prepared today. This is kind of a last minute, I have some time I can film today, kind of a thing. And so I don't have anything prepared, but maybe next Thursday. Just keep an eye out for that. Maybe next Thursday, I will have some celebratory something for you all, for my viewers who have been with me for, whether you've been here for just today is your first video of mine, or if you've been with me since that first slightly cringy video from 12 years ago. So anyway, thanks y'all for however long you've been with me, and we will celebrate in my next update. Okay, last administrative thing to talk about, and it is a brief mention of something that I talked about in my last update, and that is my coupon code. So I have a coupon code with Floss and Flame, and their website is always linked in the description box below. So my friend Jenn is an LNS owner. The brick and mortar is located in Dover, Delaware, but they also have an online presence, a website. And so I have a coupon code for you all. So the coupon code, just as a reminder, is JMDS15, JMDS15, and it is 15% off your order. You can use it as many times as you like from now until September 26th, 2025, and it can be used either in store, so you give that code at the checkout, or online. So JMDS15, head on over to Floss and Flame. They have beautiful candles and of course all of the stitchy goodness. So head on over there. Okay, that's it for the administrative things. Now we're going to talk about some end of month statistics because we are in the first few days of August here. So I can do some end of July stats with you all. And we'll just do that here at the forefront. So real quickly, at the beginning of the month, I had 97 works in progress. With 4 new starts, 0 finishes. I finished the month with 101 works in progress. So that information, it is day to day how I feel about it. Some days I'm like, let's go for catching up to Jenn, Jenn the caffeinated crafter. Let's go for that dare. And then another part of me wants to abandon all my plans and focus on those things that I can finish to try to get back under 100. And I oscillate between the two, day to day, sometimes hour to hour. So today, right now, I'm feeling okay with it. I love all of my projects, and they are all, for the most part, pretty different. So it is what it is. Anyway, okay, in July, I stitched 29 of 31 days. So I had 2 0 stitch days. One of them was a packing day at the end of a retreat, and the next was the very next day, which was a travel day, and I was just exhausted by the time I got home. In the month of July, I worked on 19 unique projects. 19. That's a lot. 4 of those, of course, were new starts. But then that means that 15 of my works in progress got some love in July. Let's see. I had 1 page finish, and that was on Sweater Weather. So I had that page finish early in the month. Over the course of those 29 stitching days, I did 17,357 stitches, and that brings me to a total for the year so far at 122,897. So this year has been a little bit different. I've had some very low stitching months, and I've had some almost record-breaking, like really good stitching months. So, that information, I don't have any feelings about it. It's just numbers. And then another number that I'm tracking, it's not necessarily informing any of my choices or any of my plans, but I have done 50,672 stitches on my full coverage projects this year. That again, that's it, take it or leave it kind of information. I'm not adjusting based on that. I'm not even comparing it to last year because the focus this year is different than it was last year. So anyway, so some interesting information for you there on my end of July recap. Okay, so let's get into the stitching. Some of this is from July, and some of it is from these first few days in August here. Now, I have, I believe, 5 projects to show you. Yes, 5 projects to show you. I've worked on a ton more than that. Because I am playing the Big Brother Stitchy game. I am stitching according to what happens during Big Brother this year. those projects are reserved for those videos. So if you are looking for a better picture of the stitching that I have done, then be sure to check those videos out. I am going to insert here the playlist for the Big Brother Stitchy game. I am uploading weekly pseudo vlog style videos for the Big Brother Stitchy game. So head on over there if you are curious about what else I'm working on. But these are just kind of the outside of Big Brother projects. Okay, so up first is something that I worked on very shortly after my last update video, and it lives in this project bag here. My typical note here, all of the project bag makers that I show you here that I can link to in the description box, I will. Some of the project bag makers some of the project bags that I have are by people who are either not making bags currently or they were gifts kind of a thing. Stitch and Button, which is where this bag is from, is always linked because I'm always showing one of her bags. So her Facebook group is always linked in the description box of my videos. But this, as mentioned, is a Stitch and Button bag, and in here lives Snow Castle. Snow Castle is by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Randal Spangler, and this is my project for full coverage whip go. So I am multiplying the whip go numbers that are called by 100, and I put that many stitches into Snow Castle each month. And when I last worked on this, it was to finish out the July goal for that. So let me show you the progress, and then we'll talk about all the things. So here is where I'm at currently. My excessive, still haven't trimmed that down yet. Extra fabric just to make it easier to stitch in a Q-snap. So that's where we are currently. And my goal for the month of July was 1,800 stitches. So I did that. And I will fold this up close and bring it in close to page 10 so that you can see that. Where I was working. So I did, I think, 3 or 4 more blocks to finish out my goal for July. So I did 362 additional stitches to bring me to that 1,800 threshold. I am currently at 60,564 stitches complete of a total 126,000 stitches in the project, which is a percentage of 48.07%. For full coverage whip go for the month of August, I need 2,700 stitches, so I am going to see 50% at some point this month. So that's where I'm at in page 10. I have hit the right side of the page, it's right there. I haven't hit the bottom yet. Still a few diagonals to go to hit the bottom. Fabric is a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana from Zweigart. I am stitching this 1/1 full cross with the called for DMC. The only exception there is black. I subbed DMC 310 for anchor black on this one. So yeah, so that's where I am now with Snow Castle. And I do parking, and I stitch stair step diagonals. I do lots of feathering, all sorts of things going on there. So that is where we are with Snow Castle, and I am looking forward to working on this again here in August. I am going to start working on it again as of probably Saturday night and or Sunday. But more on that when we get to plans. So that is Snow Castle. Up next is another regular piece, but I am woefully far behind. I spent a lot of time working on Big Brother Stitchy Game over the last few weeks, and so this has definitely taken a back seat. I will get caught up, It just might be like an 11th hour kind of get caught up kind of thing. Yeah, I'm really far behind. I didn't even do the math because I don't want to stress myself out about it. I'm really far behind. What am I really far behind on? The Fruits of Plenty. So this is The Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. Preview here of what this will look like finished in a blue colorway that Jacob charted it in. I'm stitching mine in 2 shades of an antique purple color, DMC's 3041 and 3042. So that's the mock-up, but mine's obviously going to look just a little bit different with the different color. So let me show you the progress. This is the biggest nurge. It's the number 4. It's the 250 millimeter. And it's honestly like a perfect working space for this because I can get access to a lot of spots, and everything that I have done so far is in this one frame. So that's kind of cool. This, what am I far behind on? It's Whip into Shape. So Whip into Shape is a challenge created by Andrew, the runner stitcher. He's running the Sydney Marathon at the end of August here. So we are coming down to the end of his training program and getting really close to the marathon. So he created a stitching challenge for us where, as prescribed, we are to do 10 stitches for every mile that he runs while training. You can also do the amount of time. In case you aren't somebody who counts your stitches, then perhaps you go for the 45 minutes that it took him to run his run this morning, etc. He's got a great Google spreadsheet that he updates when he does his runs and whatnot. We are, let me think, this started in May, so we are 3 months into this and coming down to the end. I should mention I'm doing a bit of an extra challenge. So he said 10 stitches for every mile that he runs, and I am doing 26.2 stitches rounded up all the time for every mile that he runs. So I'm doing a lot of stitching, and it's biting me a little bit right now because I got so far behind, but that's okay. Like I said, I will catch up. Since my last update, I did 498 stitches. And I know that some of that went in here, finishing out this vignette here, adding in the light purples to these little pinwheels looking things, and the little triangles, some of the light purple down in here, and then most recently I worked in here trying to fill in some more of that. So yeah, 498 stitches since my last update. I am now at 10,158 stitches complete. So I crossed over 10,000 stitches. There are 47,397 stitches total in this project, and so I am at 21.43% complete. No idea how far behind I am. When I am able to work on it, I'm just going to work on it a lot and get caught up. So that is where I got to with the Fruits of Plenty. Oh, I love this piece. It is so much fun to stitch on. Speaking of which, the fabric is a 40 count Newcastle linen in, I think this is Silver Moon by Zweigart. It's just a plain linen. It's not dyed or anything. Stitching this 1/2 with the DMCs. So that is where we are with Fruits of Plenty. And yeah, I am always looking forward to getting back to this. Always, always. So hopefully I can do that soon. Big Brother Stitchy Game is a little bit different this week. Some things got shifted around based on some events. And I am, for the most part, caught up with Big Brother Stitchy Game, which you will see in my Big Brother Stitchy vlogs. So that has given me an opportunity this week to catch up on some other things. And I decided to start with Monopoly. So Monopoly is, it is a game, and the stitching rules are set by Jenn, the Caffeinated Crafter. So I am essentially stitching along with what her tokens do in her game. I assigned 5 projects to the game of Monopoly. So I have 1 project assigned to the corners and then another project assigned to each of the 4 sides. And so I do the number of stitches that Jenn tells me to do in between each of the rounds that she plays. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get another round at the end of this week. And so I took this opportunity where Big Brother Stitchy Game is not occupying so much of my time. I took this opportunity to play catch up. And so the next 3 projects I show you are that, indeed. So up next is my project that is for the corners, which lives in this project bag by the brass button. Very, very pretty summery bag. And in here lives Summer Montage. Summer Montage is by Paine Crafts. The artist is Janet Stever. And yes, I think I said this is for the corners in Monopoly. So let me show you where I am now. I worked on this earlier this week because, like I said, Big Brother is doing some, it's on a bit of a different schedule right now. Very short term. So here's where I am, and I am working on page 8. We did this last time. I think this is page 8. It might be page 9. Second row of pages, the first page in the second row of pages. And I needed 800 stitches to get caught up with this. 600 stitches for the round 20, 200 stitches that I had owed from round 19. So I sum total 800 stitches. And I did 819 stitches on this earlier this week. So I am, let's see, this is the right side of the page. These pages are so cute. And so I did some work in the rose petals here, some of the greenery, the border of the blocks, and I've come down here and done some of the background in this giant block here that's got a lot of stuff going on in it. This here is the shading. So there's like a straw hat that's hanging on the wall. And so this is the shadow behind the brim of the hat. So that's kind of cool. I'm getting into something interesting there. The fabric is a 25 count vintage country mocha Lugana from Zweigart. So it's one of those printed fabrics with nothing on the back, but some modeling here on the front. And lots of color changes going on, but I find this to be just fun. This is one of my favorites, and I have so many. I have so many favorites. So that doesn't feel like a significant title, but really this one is joyful. I really enjoy working on this, and I very much enjoy stitching on the printed Lugana. That's nice. It's not gridded, but with my style of stitching, the stair-step or diagonals, I don't need the gridding necessarily. I like it. It lets me park a little bit further away than this does, but I don't need it. So yeah, 819 stitches, like I said. I am now at 8,757 stitches complete of a total 147,900. My percentage is 5.92%. Very cool. Now, with Monopoly, I have decided that so my corners piece will always be a full coverage rotation, and I'm going to stick with the same project until I hit a page finish. So I have about 1,800 stitches left to this page finish. For my sides pieces, I will switch out the projects when I hit 2,500 stitches put into them for Monopoly. So just to give you an idea of things, this one I need about 1,800 stitches to get the page finish, and then I will spin my full coverage wheel to choose what my next piece is for that. So there's Summer Montage. Love that. Love getting to work on that. It's just fun. Just fun. Up next is another one from Monopoly. This is for side 3. And it lives in this cute little bag. This is by Gamma's Treasures. And I think the last time I looked, this shop was taking a break. But I will confirm that, and you can have a look at the description box to find out. But anyway, in here lives Within a Dream. Within a Dream is by the Artsy Housewife, and I needed to give this project 700 stitches. Yeah, this one needed 700 stitches. I believe it was 600 for the current round and 100 for the previous round that I wasn't caught up on. So let me show you the progress and then we can talk. That's becoming my new tagline. So this is where we are now. And I got to stitch on the raven or crow. And I was so geeked to do it that I jumped ahead. I probably should have eaten my vegetables and worked on the moon or the border, because the border is intense. It is not an insignificant border. I probably should have done that, but I just wanted to work on the bird and get into him and see how he was going to turn out. So my fabric is a 40 count Newcastle linen in Margarita by Color and Cotton. And I am stitching this using a mix of the called for threads and some things from Stash. Be that overdyed, subbed in for DMCs, or vice versa. Yeah, this is very much a substitution based on what the original design looks like. So I'm not doing any color converting so much as just filling with my stash. I did decide to stitch the bird in all DMCs. So I think it's charted in black, this lightest gray, warm gray there. I think the dark gray is meant to be a Gentle Arts soot, perhaps. I'm using the DMC. I'm using $37.99. Just for simplicity's sake. I don't have to think about variegation placement or anything like that. So just using the DMC there. Anyway, oh, I love it. So I did 757 stitches. And that brought me to 2,500 stitches exactly. I did a little bit of extra stitching so I could hit that 2,500 stitches exactly. Sum total 19,704 stitches in this piece. I'm at 12.69%. And this piece is up to, I believe, just shy of 1,000 for Monopoly. So I've got about 1,500 stitches-ish until I swap this one out. So I'm going to get some more progress, and maybe I can even get it to the 25% mark. That might be cool. So there we are with Within a Dream. Love this piece. Oh, it's so fun. The last project I have to show you here is what I am working on currently, so I don't have any numbers for you today. But this is my project for side 1. I owe this project 700 stitches for round 20. So all of this is current. I'm up to current at least. So the project in question is Quick Stitch Day and Night. This is artwork by Nadia Strelkina. This is half of the original artwork, which features both a day section and a night section, and I'm stitching only the night section, which is why it's got the name Quick Stitch QS. So it's not really a quick stitch, it's just a crop. So like I said, I owe this project 700 stitches. I have done about 300. And I've got parked threads of the way. Still parked threads in the way. Okay, and I'll move the needle minder too. There we go. I've got this still on the Lowry clamp, so I'm going to hold this up for a little bit and then set it down. It's a little heavy. So, again, 25 count easy grid Lugano from Swagger, 1/1 full cross, called for DMC. This one I am using DMC 310. And I am down here working on page 8. I have this one on the frame because this side margin is just a little bit narrow for the Q-snap. I could put it in a Nerge, but I just decided to put this one on the frame and try to knock out my 700 stitches today, maybe dipping into tomorrow a little bit. More than likely now since I'm filming. But anyway, so that's where I am currently with Quick Stitch Day and Night. I will do another 400 stitches and get that goal accomplished. I'm working in what looks like nothing right now. And it's going to continue to look like nothing for, I think, probably one more diagonal. And then we're going to start to see a moth. And the moth takes up a good majority of this page. And I am so excited to get into that. As I have mentioned several times. So that's where we are currently with Quick Stitch Day and Night. So that's it for what I am working on. Okay, let's talk about some plans. So we have a couple of exciting things coming up. Big Brother Stitchy Game is going to be very much back of the week heavy. So I'll be working on that stuff starting tomorrow and into the weekend, I expect. So let's get into the exciting stuff. Gridiron Grind. Gridiron Grind kicks off this weekend for me. And I am geeked about it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Gridiron Grind was created by Kim. She is Spartan Stitcher on Instagram. Her channel will be linked in the description box below. So she created this challenge for herself. You know, I do Big Brother Stitchy Game and Great British Baking Stitchy Game. That doesn't really suit Kim's interest. She doesn't watch either of those shows. She's not much into reality TV, but she does watch football, and more specifically the Detroit Lions. And so she devised this challenge for herself, and a bunch of folks were like, can we play too? Can we do that too, but for our teams? And so she said, well, of course. And then created an event specifically for full coverage fanatics, which she heads up. So if you want to join the official challenge, it's in the Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group. Obviously, people can play on their own with their own rules, but the official one, if you will, is on Full Coverage Fanatics. So what you do is it's totally customizable. Like, so you pick your team and you create some kind of a stitching challenge based on what the team does in each of their games. So for me, I follow the Buffalo Bills, and I am so excited for the new season. I'm ready. Last night we watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, which is following the Buffalo Bills training camp, and it's just got me geeked. It's got me geeked. Very exciting. Okay, so I follow the Buffalo Bills, and so what I plan to do is I'm going to stitch 10 stitches for every point we have on the board by the end of each game. So 30 points on the board equals 300 stitches that I will put into my project. We'll talk about the project in a second. So 10 stitches for every point. 170 stitches for every Josh Allen rushing touchdown. For which, I mean, he does that. So I will probably have to do that at some point this season. I believe the number I picked was 250 stitches for every special teams or defensive touchdown. 170 is based on 17. 17 is Josh Allen's jersey number. 250 is based off of 25. 25 was Frank Beamer's number, and who was the legendary head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies, which is my alma mater and the college team that I follow, of course. Frank was always a special teams guy. So special teams or defensive scores will equate to 250 stitches. And then I will do 1 stitch for every passing yard pre-adjustment. So if there are any sacks and tackles for loss before that, I will do 1 stitch for every passing yard. So that's the plan for the number of stitches I'm going to do. And this is going to start for me preseason. And our first preseason game is Saturday afternoon. It is unlikely that Josh will see much time, if any at all, on Saturday. And so I doubt that I'll be stitching for his rushing touchdowns this weekend. But otherwise, I mean, you know, we'll see how it goes. So the project that I'm working on is Snow Castle. If you know anything about Buffalo Bills Stadium, aka Highmark, aka the Ralph, then Snow Castle is perfect for this design, or for this challenge. Anyway, I'm excited. Can you tell? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And so that's going to start up this weekend. I had originally said that I was going to do these 2 things separate. So I was going to do full coverage whipco, my 2,700 stitches this month, on top of whatever Gridiron Grind says. But I don't think I have time. I don't think I can squeeze that much time into Snow Castle this month alongside everything else. So I'm going to double dip, and if Gridiron Grind takes me beyond the 2,700 stitches, then great. If I need to throw in a few hundred extra stitches at the end of the month to get to the 2,700, so be it. So I will work on those sort of in tandem together. So yeah, so that is that plan there. Okay. As mentioned, I believe there's possibility for a new round of Monopoly on Friday. So we'll see, and I will try to get to those projects if necessary before my next update. However, there's a big old wrench in that idea, and that is next Tuesday. So next Tuesday is August 12th, and it is also my daughter's first day of school. I'm having a new start. I'm having a big old gigantic full coverage new start, because that just seems to be where my head is at. And so I'm excited. It's back to school. And it's sort of a double entendre, a double meaning. Yeah, I'm geeked about it. I am really looking forward to this new start. I have been sourcing for it for a long time. So let me talk about how this came to be real quickly here. So it was the first couple weeks of June that I started thinking about this. I was watching Siske stitches and feeling very inspired. So Siske is working on these 3 supersize max color pieces, 1 for each of her children, along with supersize max color Animal Kingdom for her family. I think she even said that it was an anniversary piece, if I'm not mistaken. And I was inspired. I was thinking, I need to have a piece that I work on like that. Something for my daughter, something just something epic for her. And then I started thinking about an anniversary piece for my husband and and I am still kind of mulling that over. I have Avarice that is somewhat of an anniversary piece in the sense that he bought the chart and all of the threads for that for me for one of our dating anniversaries, back when we were still dating. And I started it on our wedding anniversary, but it's not exactly an us piece. So I'm still mulling over what I might do for that. In the interim, I went head first into the deep end trying to find a piece to stitch for my daughter. I already started Little Wings with her in mind, but I started that at a time when her personality wasn't as apparent. I started it when she was 9 months old, 10 months old. And now that she is 4.5, her personality is showing itself. And so Little Wings is nice, and she is very much a pink girl. And so it fits that. But her true love these days is unicorns. Oh my goodness, does this girl love a unicorn? She is whole hog into her unicorn era, and I don't think that it will ever end. So it got me thinking about stitching a unicorn chart for her. I have quick stitch once up on a fairy tale that has a unicorn in it, but that's not really her aesthetic of unicorns. She's 4. But like I said, I don't think that this unicorn thing is I don't think it's anything less than a permanent thing for her. I think she's always going to be a unicorn kind of girly. So I started pouring through full coverage options, full coverage charts in my stash, full coverage designers, just looking at all of the unicorns. And I had a list of like 7 that I was mulling over and trying to think through, and trying to decide which one I was going to go for. I'll put up a little montage here of all of them. They are from various designers. I have some from Thread Geeks. I have some from Heaven and Earth Designs. I have some from Charting Creations. I think there's a Paine Free Crafts in there. I have a lot of unicorns that I was considering. Ultimately, I decided to go with this one because when it first came out, I placed a customized order with Heaven and Earth Designs for a color expansion into Anchor. Now, isn't it just my style? Isn't it just so very typical me to place an order for a customized chart into Max Color Anchor just before DMC buys Anchor and Anchor becomes increasingly more difficult to find? I would do that, wouldn't I? I absolutely would. Oh my goodness. But this design is largely purple, and for better or worse, Anchor has always been better at purple than DMC. Anchor has a wider range of purples, and their purples they're just better than DMC has ever done. So I hope that DMC adopts some of those recipes, because, yeah. So anyway, this is Fairy Tales by Yuliana Babenko, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is, I think it's color expansion Anchor. It's 179 colors total, which is really just silly because it meant that because I don't have a stash of Anchor, I had to buy whole skeins for those colors that occur 4 stitches in this whole gigantic chart. Yeah, so that was a choice. But it's okay. It is what it is. So for my wedding anniversary this year, I sourced as many of the anchors as I possibly could. I found some on 123 Stitch and some from an eBay seller. And then I picked up the last of what I think I'm going to be able to find this past weekend. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So here's what we've got currently. This is just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But that's okay. So I am prepping to start this on Tuesday. I'm not going to be prepping all of this because the top left corner is it's largely, I'm going to end up having to use the DMC alternative for this one because this one I cannot find this color anywhere. Not easily anyway. But it's DMC 939. So I'm just going to be working on this top left corner for now. And then I'll get that fully kitted and prepped and ready to go. Here's the thing about this design. It's a little blonde girl. My daughter is a little blonde girl reading to her stuffed animals with rapt attention. And the number of times that my daughter has done exactly this, she has lined up her stuffed animals and read them a story. Oh my goodness, it is so perfect. Not only that, it has a stuffy unicorn, and her lovey of choice is a unicorn. We went through a phase where she was changing out her bedtime lovey every night, and it's been this one for a solid 2 months now. And it's a little unicorn. It's got a flamingo, which is one of her favorite stuffies, and a dinosaur, and a teddy. This is so perfect. And there's lots of pink and purple, and it's just so very her. So I am going to start this on her first day back to school on Tuesday, August 12th. The other thing is that August 12th was my Aunt Colleen's birthday, and she passed away on Christmas 2023, and my daughter going back to school on Aunt Colleen's birthday. Aunt Colleen was like a pivotal figure in why I am a reader, and why I am as voracious a reader as I have been and am currently. So it just all feels like it's coming together. This is the right path. So I have all of those anchor threads. I have a gigantic piece of Easy Grid, 25 count. So we're ready to go. So that's going to be happening on Tuesday, regardless of what's going on in all of my other stitchy games and stitchy things. Okay, so that's it for the plans. We're going to dive in and talk about some stash acquisitions. I have kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. I have some stuff that I bought while at retreats. I have some of the table gifts. This is just some of the stuff that I have acquired of late. But it's certainly not everything. Some stuff has been worked into my stash, and my daughter has commandeered some things and whatnot. But this is some of the stuff that I want to show you. So, let's get into it. Okay. We'll start here. So, Chatelaine weekend. Queen City Stitch Retreat, Chatelaine weekend that happened mid-July. The retreat officially ended on Saturday, but a lot of us were still hanging out on Sunday. A lot of people were traveling on Sunday. I ended up staying until Monday because that's what I like to do. I like the overtime, I like the after party, if you will, of a retreat. So on Sunday, a group of folks were going to make the trip down to the Stitch and Kitten, which is an LNS in Irmo, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half or so from Charlotte. And so some folks were gonna head down there to the shop. They opened the shop especially for us on Sunday so that we could do that as retreat attendees. So that was very, very nice of them to do. So I went down. I hopped in the car with Susan, Criminally Creative. She drove us down there. And also Charlotte, who is stitching with the kids around here on FlossTube, and Nicola. They were over from the UK. They weren't driving, but Susan drove us, and we went down to the Stitching Kitten. So I've shown you already in my last update a piece of fabric that I bought from Black Cauldron Dye Works that I'm using for my scarab beaded tile. Okay, here's a couple of other things I picked up. I found Giggles in the Snow by Mirabilia. And so this is obviously like a rehoming kind of situation because we were not at Counting Stitches in Fort Myers, Florida. Can't even be sure that that's still a shop. But anyway, I thought this was adorable. So yeah, I picked this up so that I can stitch this for my little girl. Super cute. And then I picked up Maguayan by Bella Filipina. I keep thinking that I have this in stash and buying a Bella Filipina that I do in fact already have in stash. So I at one point had 2 copies of La Capati and 2 copies of Bellatrix. So I was sure to pick up Maguayan. I love this design so very much. And so I know that this design calls for DMC satins, and I'm not super interested in stitching with those. So I pulled the DMC equivalents and went to their wall of Dinky Dyes to find some Dinky Dyes equivalents. Because Dinky Dyes are fairly dependable as far as colorway is concerned. They're semi-solid, the same sheen as the satins, so that's what we went with there. And then I can't remember if these water lilies are for this design or if they are for my beaded scarab tile, but there we have it. There's a couple of water lilies to work into a project. Next, we'll do Stitch New Jersey shopping. So there were multiple opportunities for shopping at Stitch New Jersey. We had Needlework by Jim, who was occupying one of the shopping spaces for 2 of the days we were there. And so I bought some stuff there. And then Saturday morning, there was the vendor shop. So it was like individual vendors. Grace Notes Fabrics, Crafty Kim had project bags, So Pretty Pins had a booth, kind of a thing. So that was going on in the other room. So I bought stuff at both. So from Needlework by Jim, I bought a Q-snap, an 11 by 11 Q-snap, which seems to be my favorite, and a grime guard to fit it. I also picked up a small cut of, this is 25 count Easy Grid Lugana. It is an 11 by 24 cut. So a bit of an odd cut, but I think I could probably find something to put on that. Okay, let's see, what else did I pick up? This is Spring Folk by Hands On Design. I bought the board from Chantel's 141. I bought that from StitchCon, I think, a couple years ago. And probably should start collecting these charts if I want to use said board. So, picked up Spring Folk. As mentioned the last time, there was this basket full of silks, and it was largely Thread Gatherer Silken Colors. And so I did pick up one of those. It's just pretty. I don't need a Stitcher's Journey. Oh, that's pretty. I don't need this for anything in specific, but I just thought it was pretty, so I picked it up. And then also mixed in there were a number of Gloriana, and I picked up a colorway that they had 2 skeins of, a couple of colorways that they had 2 skeins of, and then one off because I just like Gloriana Cobblestone. So there's that. I'm not going to go through all of these and the names of them. So you can see we had a couple of duplicates. And then this is a Floramel in the colorway Harvest Grape. From the vendor room, I picked up a couple of things. I got a piece of Grace Notes Fabrics. This is Mojito Smoothie. And it is a gorgeous green. And so I picked that up in a 40 count. I wanted to go back because my Greenhouse of Oddities I have on 46 count, the gray stuff by Grace Notes. And so I was going to go back to the vendor market to see if they had a 40 count in, if not the same color, then something similar. But I never made it back. So I have Mojito Smoothie. This is just for stash. I'm not going to put Greenhouse of Oddities on this, even though it is a green, but I really like the idea of that gray purple. So I think I'll just be ordering a piece of gray stuff from Grace Notes to stitch that on. But anyway, so there is Mojito Smoothie, very pretty. And then we get to the project bags, which is my kryptonite. It's my kryptonite. So, let's start with the Crafty Kim bags, plural, because she has a really great deal. You know, you buy 2 and you get a little discount. So I got 2. So first up is this one here, which I just think is cool. It's kind of like Peacock, Unicorn, and Badger, or William Morris. But like if William Morris and Tula Pink had a baby, it would be this kind of a thing. Yeah, anyway, so I just thought that was really cool, and really pretty, and inside is a plain white. And then I have this one also by Crafty Kim, and ironically enough, I think I'm gonna put a Peacock, a Unicorn, a Badger in this, which is something that I would really like to start before the end of the year, because look, it's got a badger on it. So that just feels fitting, doesn't it? And also adorable little hedgehogs and a squirrel. Oh, this is cute. So very cute. So, and again, I believe, yeah, plain white interior. Gorgeous, gorgeous bags though. So, those are my Crafty Kim additions. And then I have Penny and Tunny, a PT Bags bag. Because, see, what happens is we have Grace Notes along this wall, and PT Bags is along this wall. And while you're in the very long line to check out for Grace Notes, PT Bags is right there. And so shopping while in line happens. And that's what happened here. So, yeah. So I picked up this gorgeous floral. I am trying very hard to buy, if I'm buying any project bags these days, to only buy bags that are generic enough that I could put multiple things in them. So like I don't want to buy specific bags for specific projects as much as I can help it. So yeah. So this is a floral. With the gold sparkly on there, which is just pretty. It's just really pretty. And the zipper is a gold zipper too. And let's see the interior. Oh, it's cute. Cute little interior. So that is my PT Bags bag from this time. Okay. Up next, I do have a new Vic bag. So Stitch and Button is not left out here. This is a gorgeous winter landscape that I thought was perfect, and Vic told me She texted me and she said, hey, I've got this one for your Blue Ridge. So my Blue Ridge by Derek McRae is now in this bag. So this past weekend, my daughter actually had a sleepover at her grandma's house, my mom's house. And so they went and did fun things. They went into DC and went to the Natural History Museum. And then my daughter slept over at my mom's house. And so it was kind of like a last visit before we go back to school. My mom is traveling mid-September, and I know that my daughter is going to get sick with back to school. It's just inevitable. We are stockpiling on cold medicine and whatnot because it's inevitable. Back to school, kids bring germs. It's going to happen. And so I don't think that my mom is going to want to necessarily expose herself to whatever those little kid germs might be before she tries to travel internationally. So it was kind of like a last hurrah for summer. And so my daughter went and spent the night at her house. So my mom lives in Northern Virginia, and so we brought my daughter to her. And afterward, I was like, when in Rome, let's go to an LNS. And so we drove a little bit and went to In Stitches, which is in Alexandria. And so went to the shop and bought a little bit. The main purpose for the trip was the last of the anchor that I could possibly find. I knew that they had some, so picked those up. Look at those purples. Aren't they stunning? Anyway, but one cannot make a trip to an LNS for some anchor floss alone, so I bought some fabric. Yeah. I went in with the idea of if they've got 40 count Lakeside or Fortnite still hanging around, that I would perhaps grab a piece. So this is 40 count vintage Meadow Rue from Lakeside, and this is a half. I couldn't. I couldn't. I have no specific plans for this. But I couldn't pass it up. Absolutely gorgeous. So there's that. And then I picked up a piece of Atomic Ranch in, what's this called? Spring Spruce. And this is a quarter. I thought I have a ton of neutrals, so maybe I should get something that is also a neutral, but in with a little bit of color to it. I guess the Overcast is washing this out. It is a pale blue, but it's a little bit deeper than that. So this is 40 count Atomic Ranch in Spring Spruce, as I mentioned. There we go. So you can see it's kind of a pretty pale blue color. So that is some of the fabric that I bought. And then I also bought a pack of pony. These are pony black needles, but with the white eye. I am always looking at trying some new needles because I rushed through needles, and I have heard that the pony black needles are pretty good for that. So I'm going to give those a try. Maybe this afternoon. So that's it for the haul. That's it for the stash. I have some other stuff, but I think we'll call it there. That's good enough. Showed you a bunch of stuff today. So we're going to talk a little bit about life, and then we'll get you on your way. This is going to be a really quick segment because I've talked about a lot of it, sort of intermixed in. As mentioned, last weekend, kiddo spent the night at her grandma's. So my husband and I, we went out to dinner, just the two of us, and that was pretty spectacular. So that night he ended up going board gaming. I told him to. I said, go chill, go relax, go whatever you want to do, because I'm going to stitch. And so I did some stitching that night, and I ended up staying up late. And so we just kind of had a relaxing evening. Let's see, what else is going on? So the weekend before this weekend just passed, we had our stitching meetup. So Erin, who is hiking in stitches here on FlossTube, I will link her channel in the description box below. She, a little under a year ago, got a bunch of stitchers together and said, let's get together and stitch once a month. And so we meet up in Culpeper, Virginia. And this time we had a group of, I think we were like 12 of us, maybe somewhere around 12 of us. And it was wonderful. We meet up at a local winery, and they have food, and we sit and stitch, and other patrons of the winery, they come by and they're looking at what we're doing. We get a lot of, oh, I used to do that in the 80s and 90s, and this is it's really cool. Just sitting and stitching and getting a little bit of social time with people who just get it. I was telling them, it's funny because I had just gotten back from 2 weekends at a retreat, and I thought for sure, when I told my husband that our stitching meetup was the very next weekend, I thought his head was going to spin, but he said, no, go, have fun, enjoy your time. It's only a couple hours. I think he was a little bit more pro stitchy group following 2 long weekends. A couple hours is nothing by compared to 4 or 5 days at a retreat. So anyway, it's just wonderful if you have access to a stitchy group, or if you can formulate one in your area. Stitchers will come, and if you have a stitchy group and you're wary about going, my advice to you is to just go. First of all, a vast majority of us are introverts to begin with, so it's okay. You're among similarly thinking people. The other thing is that it's just a couple hours, and so worst case scenario, you hate it and you never go back. But best case scenario and most likely scenario is that you find your people. I just have to say a huge thank you here to Erin for making this happen. I really look forward to our stitching group every month. I missed it for a few months there, and I had a wonderful time this last time. I mean, every time, of course. But this last time, for whatever reason, is getting me a little verklempt. Maybe it's because of some of the plans we're making. Yeah, more on that as details become available. But yeah, just very exciting. If you are anywhere within driving distance of Culpeper, Virginia, come stitch with us. Our next meetup is August 24th, and come stitch with us. It's a great group. It's a really great group, and we have food and wine and non-alcoholic beverages there, of course, as well. It's wonderful. Come hang out with us. Come stitch with us. If you're gonna be in the area just by happenstance, or if you live nearby, come stitch with us. We'd love to have you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will be there with my too much stuff, and it's great. So anyway, what else is going on? I think that's about it. Yeah, getting ready for back to school. Oh, that's the other thing. We've got kiddo enrolled in dance, in creative movements. And so that's going to be starting up in the next couple of weeks. Just one afternoon a week. I think that they will have like a very low-key kind of recital thing, but it's not going to be anything formal or anything like that. But it's sort of like toddler / little kid basics getting ready for ballet. My kiddo she wants to dance all the time, and so this is gonna be good for her, I think. So yeah, so we've got that coming up in a couple weeks, but that's not right yet. Hopefully we can get through the initial illness at back to school, and then get into dance. So anyway, okay, I think that's enough. I am going to head off here, do some stitching, find some lunch, and get this edited and posted for you all. Not necessarily in that order, but anyway, so happy stitching. As always, be kind. I will see you in the next one. Take care, y'all. Bye for now.